Little bit of lag. We are live. Good, good. Is the audio working? Seems to be a pretty big delay, though. When I was first testing this, there was like 20 seconds of delay. So it's better than that now. A bit of background noise. I'm not sure how I could filter that. I guess it's just because the mic's picking up everything. Let me just check. Desktop audio is turned off. I'll lower the mic a little bit. See if that makes any difference. Sounds like a fan. Yeah, that's the Xbox. It took like 2 minutes for somebody to ask for a car in GT Sport. It's holding up, mate. It's holding up. I've had to park it away from the house at the moment because I'm having the driveway done or redone. Hey, guys! It's time to Livestream. Now I'm not sure how this Streamlabs integration works. Yeah, I hope to review the Trident in Project Gotham. I'm not sure if you have to unlock it, though. I'm going to try, this will probably break everything, but I'm going to try the different screens. I've swapped to the game feed. So can you guys see a feed of the Xbox homepage? So it seems like there's probably about a 3-second delay, but for some reason the comments are showing up on YouTube, but they're not showing up on screen, which they should be through Streamlabs, but for some reason they're not, because when I type on Streamlabs, so I've just typed, yeah, so it's adding my comments, but it's not integrating YouTube, which is strange because everything else is integrated. It's got the camera feed, the game feed, and the live viewer count even, but not the comments. I wonder why. I need to fix that because obviously there's no point in having the comments if I'm not going to see them. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this... oh yeah, the Tesla Cybertruck is already a meme. That's why it's brilliant. It's the best word of mouth he could have possibly asked for. Sup, bud? Yeah. Well, saying about modern problems, the reason why I've integrated Streamlabs is because with the YouTube streaming, which oh, that's a problem, is it, Ben? Oh, right, okay. Because obviously all of this is new to me. I don't have a clue how any of Streamlabs integration works. It's a wonder this video is even live at all. But one of the reasons why I did it is because for those who do decide to donate and support the channel, or you know, have those screen things pop up, like the chat bot and all that, YouTube takes a pretty big percentage of any donations that you make, like 30% at least, whereas Streamlabs apparently doesn't take any. But that's not going to be much use if I can't get the comments to actually work. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, Streamlabs doesn't have a watch page. I don't think. Because obviously, like here on YouTube, you're watching this, you're commenting on it, and it's relatively live. It's not exactly live, but it's close enough. But on Streamlabs, I don't think there is a watch page. I'm not sure about Twitch. I do have a Twitch account, but I don't know. Is there an advantage of one over the other? I can probably do more stuff without getting banned on Twitch based on its reputation. Okay. So we've got apparently 28 viewers. So that's kind of correct. It says 25 or 26 on Streamlabs. Sup, Gordon? They're supposed to be working on a fix. The recent update has caused the chat to not show. Ah, okay. So there's not really anything I can do about that at the moment. My favourite car in GT2... I'll go back to the other chat, actually. My favourite car in GT2... Dude! Is that a Supra? My favourite car in any racing game, apart from the Espace... I guess technically the Ferrari FF, because it's my dream car, but it's in quite a few different games. Stop saying hi, Netherlands. I will just ban you. Favourite car apart from the Espace? Probably the FF, like I said. But technically, my favourite vehicle apart from the Espace F1 isn't really a car at all. It would be the Y2K in Project Gotham 4, because it's the only game to feature it. Oh wow, the Discord bot has just informed everyone that I'm live. It's only been like half an hour. Had a chance to play the Crew. No, I haven't played the first or the second one. A GT3 RS. No, there's not a single Porsche in like my top 20 favourite cars. Even the Carrera GT isn't in there. Yeah, it's about right, Ben. What was the other question that I didn't answer? Favourite car in GT2? I mean, come on. The other question answered that. It's the Espace. Is there an option I could get a wheel? Well, I want to stream. I mean, obviously that's what's here. The first live stream that I want to do when it's actually working properly, so it would appear that I might have to wait if the chat isn't coming up as it should be on screen. I want to do a complete playthrough of Driver San Francisco again on either the PS3 or the 360, whichever one's easier. And based on the background noise that you guys have talked about, I might have to do it on the PS3 because my Xbox is pretty loud. Because you can play through all of Driver San Francisco in about 3 hours, say 3.5 hours if you include all the stopping and chatting and all that kind of stuff. So that would be a pretty nice live stream, I think. But obviously only if this thing's working. What cars do you think will come to GT Sport in December? I don't know. It's hard to predict anything at this point because so many cars have been completely unexpected. We know we've got the Jag, the Vision GT coming. I believe that was supposed to arrive this month, so they haven't exactly got many days for that left. Unless they put the Jaguar in with the Lewis Hamilton DLC, which will be a bit of an underhanded way of doing it when you have to pay for it. But, I mean, if they're not including it in that, it seems kind of strange. because they definitely announced it was coming at the end of November, and it's the end of November, so where's the Jag? The Lambo isn't due until next year, the Porsche isn't due until next year. We've got the Time Attack Civic supposed to be this year, but again, wouldn't surprise me if they delay that. And the Lamborghini Espada, of course, months ago was being mapped into the game, but no word on that. There was a car which Tuareg sent me on Twitter. I think it was Tuareg. It was blurry in the background, and it looked to me like a Lamborghini LM002 because it was red, boxy, with big wheels, and it was very high off the ground. To me, that pretty much says LM002, but yeah, I haven't done a video about it because there's not enough to go on. And of course, we're also due to have the Lancia 037 Stradale at some point. What VGT car do you want a company to create and bring into GT Sport? Well, I want the Tesla. Tesla was supposed to be doing one, and I still want them to. But if you're talking companies who haven't even announced one, I was actually saying the other day I would love... Yeah, the LM002 is my favourite Lambo as well. I would love Ferrari to do a Vision GT car. And I would imagine it being something like a closed cockpit formula car of some kind, maybe in the same vein as the Red Bull. But we'll have to see. Sup, Giants Nation? You probably hear this about 5 seconds after you've put the comment because of the lag. We've got 40 people apparently watching, I think. Oh no, 43 according to the live stream. That's pretty cool. What do you think of the Cybertruck? I love it. When I first saw it, like for the first 2 or 3 seconds, I was like, what the hell is that? And then ever since then, I've thought it's the most genius thing Elon Musk has ever done with Tesla, by far. Because if you love the car or if you hate the car, nobody can stop talking about it. And that is brilliant marketing. Plus, it's huge, it's powerful, and it can do 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. So, can't really argue with that. Yeah, the Espada, well, I think I've said before that the Espada and the LM002 kind of go back and forth for me. I'm aware of Black Panther. No, I don't watch his stuff. I try not to watch any other Gran Turismo YouTuber. I'm aware of a lot of them, but I don't actually watch any of them because I like my content to be 100%, my own creation. And I don't want to be influenced by any of them. Unfortunately, other people don't do the same. So recently I've had to claim quite a few videos that were literally just ripped straight from the channel. Son of Vikings! Murcielago SV, yeah. It was a super premium in GT6, so there's a chance. And months ago I did a video about the SV being included in the credits of the game, along with a couple of others. The livery scandal. What livery scandal? I don't know what you're talking about there, mate. No, I don't have Need for Speed Heat. I haven't bought any Need for Speed games since Carbon. Because they just bore me from what I've seen. Carbon was cool because it was dark and kind of grimy and gritty, and all the rest, eh. Oh, alright, Ben. Yeah. The only joke you've got. Thank you, generic name. I would love to see the Tesla compete in Dakar, Gordon. I think it's a matter of time, really, because even if Tesla don't, some private team will probably do it. The only problem will be the batteries lasting out. Underground 2 was good. I must admit, I don't love Underground 2 as much as some people do. I love the first one, Underground. I love Carbon the most. Never liked Most Wanted. And Underground 2, I liked it up until a certain point, and then I found the career mode got pretty repetitive. Hi, Stefano. Pro Street, I had a friend who loved Pro Street, and I liked the cars that were in there, because at the time there weren't many games featuring stuff like the Escort Cosworth and the Zonda F, and that was cool, but the performance was so ridiculous. I mean, Need for Speed games have got worse and worse when it comes to the realism of the physics. They make Fast and Furious look like Gran Turismo. Yeah, heat is a problem for batteries. Extreme heat and extreme cold both deplete batteries very quickly. Ask any iPhone user. Do you think any of the proposed hypercar prototypes will appear within GT Sport? It's possible. I would say it's probably more likely to be GT7, considering it's like 2020 or whatever, when those cars are actually going to be racing. FK8 Type R. I'm not sure which model is that. I'm not a Honda guy, so I don't know what an FK8 Type R is. Is that like the newest Civic or something? They already have my favourite Honda in the game, so I don't care about any of the others. The DC2 Integra. The only Honda I would want to add, Type R, would be the Integra DB8, which they never will. It's my favourite version of the Integra. It's a DC2, but it's got 4 doors. And yeah, NASCAR would be cool. It's a pretty obvious choice to go for. And NASCAR, like Lamborghini, is, of course, in the credits of the game. But a lot of people think that stuff was just carried over from GT6. It's possible, but that seems kind of weird to me. Like, what would be the point of that? It would almost be like them still including the credits about the Espas F1 being in there. Like, what relevance would that have? But yeah, NASCAR would be cool. I'm not a huge fan of the sport, but I am a fan of the engineering, of the engines in particular, as I've said before. Anyone who can build an engine to run 300 laps without braking gets my respect, even if they are just turning left. Yeah, Formula E was supposed to be arriving, much like many other things. 911 GT2. I gotta say, the GT2 is in Forza, and unless you're a super fan, it's fine. All 911s, see, the problem with a tuning engine in a game, be it Gran Turismo, Forza, whatever the case may be, any Porsche that you've got, you can turn into another one. They're all just variations on a theme, so get yourself a GT3 and tune it up to be a GT2. I know that doesn't cover all the cars that people want, but if you're talking purely performance, then you can achieve that very easily. The only part, see you in a bit, Ben. The only occasion where I'd say that's different when it comes to 911s is if it's the GT1, because obviously the GT1 is a totally different car. It's only a 911 in name. Polyphony isn't late on the Espada because they never announced a time. I expect... mouth noises. I expect that the Espada will come later anyway. The Civic was, or the Scoop that I had, which GT Planet decided not to run with because it was me who had the Scoop, so of course they didn't, was that the owner of the Civic, who I spoke to on Instagram, he said it was due to be in the game by the end of this year. So he didn't say an exact month, but we'll see. Wouldn't surprise me though if it's late. Which car are you talking about, Paul? Record-breaking car? Oh, GT2. Yeah, because they made it the hero car of Forza 7, but sure. Yeah, it didn't really... the way they implemented it into the game didn't really make it seem like a hero car. I think the best hero car of any Gran Turismo game is probably the Ford GT Spec 2 in Gran Turismo 4, because that car was way better than it should have been in that game. Grand Valley, yeah, I like Grand Valley. Grand Valley is one of my preferred original circuits, actually. Yeah, see you later, Thomas. Extreme E. I don't know what that is. Tuareg's good. I love it. I support Man City. No, I don't. I don't support anything because I don't support football. I don't support any sport. The only thing remotely sport-related that I enjoy is pool. And that ain't exactly a sport. Trial Mountain, sure. Yeah, Trial Mountain and Deep Forest, I'm okay on. I don't love them, but they're okay. Favourite hero car? In a game? Hero car. It's easier to think of a movie than a game. Favourite hero car in a movie, I should say, would probably be a very unpopular choice, but that would be Captain Nemo's car in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's this big, white, gothic-looking six-wheeled thing that's, I think, based on a Chevy Impala underneath. They sold it recently, but you can't even drive it in the UK because it's 9 feet wide. But yeah, just Google League of Gentlemen car. It's an awesome-looking thing. It's got, like, elephants sticking out the front. It's an awesome-looking thing. Kind of reminds me of the Chrysler Phaeton from Gran Turismo 2, but even it looks like driving a cathedral. El Capitan, yeah, it's a cool track. Dodge Monaco. Yeah, I do like the Monaco, actually, from the 70s. I can't remember which model year it is of the Monaco that is in Driver San Francisco, but I really like the look of that car. I think that's a 70s model. It's a great-looking car. The cops use it as well. So yeah, that's probably the same model, but I really like the look of that one. Hyundai Genesis, yeah, I do. I'm a big fan, actually, of the Hyundai Genesis, but I like the original, the one from, like, 2006, something like that, before the facelift. Especially in yellow. Bentley Speed 8. Again, the Bentley Speed 8 would make a lot of sense in Group 1. We do have some earlier 2000s cars like the Peugeot 908. It would make an excellent addition, and it was, again, already a super premium, so it would make a lot of sense. I just don't know. Excuse me. I just don't know how many more Group 1s they plan on adding, because it's been pretty dead for a while. Cop chases in games. Depends on the game. Cop chases in Test Drive Unlimited were a pain in the ass. Cop chases in Need for Speed Carbon were one of the main reasons why I love the game. Smashing through roadblocks in my wide-bodied Dodge Challenger. Do I love the IMSA sports car series? To some degree. I don't follow any motorsport really beyond the Le Mans 24-hour race. It's too much drama for me, too much about the drivers. I don't care about drivers. Never have. I only care about teams, cars, and innovation. Couldn't care less who's behind the wheel. Toyota Pod. The only car in GT7. I think Nismo Nath would be happy with that. I think he likes that car in the prologue. Nissan R390 or Toyota GT1? Toyota. All day, every day. The Nissan was way too OP in the older games and is simply not that good. The GT1 is a legend. It also almost won Le Mans. Great car. Gorgeous looking car. Best looking Japanese prototype ever made as far as I'm concerned. What would I think about GT Sport bringing back normal JDM cars? Sure. I mean, they're not going to, or at least they shouldn't based on the mission brief of the game because it's supposed to be sport. So all of those normal cars just don't make sense in the game. But yeah. Hey, Ness. Oh, yeah, I missed your question before, Sugumi, about model cars. I do not have a BMW M6. In fact, I actually don't have, as far as I can think of, I don't think I have any GT race cars. Most of the ones I've got are either supercars or concepts. Hey, thanks, buddy. I will buy myself something nice. Yeah, most of the model cars that I've got are either supercars or concepts, and the ones that aren't are stuff like prototypes, like the V12 LMR. There are still a couple of model cars that I would like to get that that are just so expensive. I'd love to get a Mosler, but they're like £220. No way I'm paying that price. I would love to get the Aston Lola LMP car, the Gulf liveried one, but again, very expensive. Have I played Wipeout? I think I have, briefly. Is that like the hover jet racing kind of thing, I think? What do I think about the Cybertruck and Mustang E? Cybertruck I've already answered in the stream. I like it. The Mustang E didn't need to be called a Mustang. I kind of agree with the people who don't like that, because it would almost be like if Pagani made a hatchback and called it the Zonda, or the Zonda Junior. It's like, why? Why would you do that? I get cashing in on the name, but it's not cashing in on the name, because you're making people who like the name dislike the car. It's just a very strange choice. The Mustang is well known for sure, but they should have called it something new. I think, actually, they should have called the Mustang E the Puma. That should have been the new Puma. Or Puma, for our American friends. How much do Polyphony need for the Lotus license? Yeah, licensing seems to be a very vague thing. They give us almost no information about that. I tell you what, if I was running any of these studios, I would be giving people way more information than they do. Because at the end of the day, a game is nothing without its community, so why wouldn't you include them in the loop? Nick Falcon, hi buddy. GT4 or GT5? GT4, for sure. GT4 is my favourite game of the franchise, and as far as I'm concerned, the best. Especially for its age, the fact that you didn't need any updates, no car packs, none of that. It was just all on the disc from day one, on an 8MB memory card. When is Lotus coming? Not a clue, mate. Don't even know if they are. Me personally, couldn't care less if they don't. But I know a lot of people like them. Have I played a Stuntman game? Yeah, I have, Gordon. I have. Not all of them. I had one on the PS2. I think it might have been Ignition. The one where like the first mission in the game is called a hootin' and a hollerin', or something like that. And you can like create your own destruction track in like a big arena. It was cool. I like smashing up cars as much as the next guy. Hey, buddy. Greetings from Ecuador. Greetings from England. With the Avia, is it Avia or Avija? The Lotus EV. If it dropped, it would be a cool choice, and the Avia would be one of the only Lotus models that I would like to see come to the game, because I don't care about the brand. There are just specific cars that they've made that I love, like the Elise GT1. Forza Horizon 4 or Need for Speed? Good one. Not even a contest. Forza every time. Would I want a traditional career mode? Absolutely, I would want a traditional career mode, because gearing any game toward completely online content is a stupid decision. Watch that in the stream, Kaz. Stupid decision. If it was a brand new game, then fine, because there would be no precedent, and Gran Turismo Sport could have been the first game, and oh, this is an online, an online experience. But that's not what it is. Once again, it's the same problem with the Mustang E. You're taking this existing audience who have been a fan of it for 50 or 60 years, and then you're saying, well, forget all of that. It's now an electric soccer mum's soft roader. Why would you do that? Why would you build up this massive audience for Gran Turismo and then just say, well, some of you would like to do online racing a bit more. The rest of you get screwed. You got to put up with it. It's just a stupid business choice. Aftershock. All right. Whooping and hollering. Yeah. Track creator. I like the idea of track editor, but after trying it in GT6, I thought it was fine. It's just so limited. I would much rather have a system where Gran Turismo does kind of like what Fallout does, what Bethesda does with Fallout 4. They've got something called Creation Club, where members of the community mod things, and then they actually implement them into the game officially, if they're good enough. Thanks, Jay. I'm glad you love the vids. I try and keep up with this chat. Truck, Viper GTSR. Yes, it would be a good addition. It would have to be in Group 3, like the McLaren. Fan of music. I haven't heard of that. I am a fan of music. But most of the music that I listen to is metal. You'd have never guessed, right? Like a Monomath. They're my favourite band, actually. Evo version of the Huracan. Please refrain from using foul language. Streamlabs doing its job. If only they could do their job with the actual live comments, eh? Favorite communist car. My favourite communist car would have to be the ZIL E167 that I talked about in Unsung Heroes. Very early episode, massive, like V16 8-wheel or 6-wheel truck thing. Love it. Could only do 30 miles an hour, but Maserati makes a truck. Yes, Ness, they should. I will support everything Maserati does. I would adore it if Maserati made an electric hatchback, even. I love the fact that Maserati is actually branching out into becoming a little bit more mainstream. I think that's a very, very smart choice to make. I mean, it worked for Porsche. In the early 2000s, they started making the Cayenne and that kind of stuff, and look where they are now. Strength to strength. Oh, the GTSR concept. Sure. It would be in Group X, so I don't really care. If I could choose a city to be raced on in GT7, what would I choose? Ones that haven't been in the game. I was just about to say Seattle, but obviously that's already been in. San Fran. That would be a nice little callback to Driver. San Francisco would be pretty cool because you'd have a lot of those jumps like Seattle did. Yeah, that would be cool. Have I heard about the maintenance? Yeah, it's for the Hamilton update, I believe, which is like $7. Favorite racing game soundtrack? Ooh, might actually be Driver. Driver San Fran, because even though I listen to a lot of metal, I actually love like 70s funk and jazz. Eye for an eye. Run, run, run. I love the music in that game. Touareg V10 or Ford V10? Come on, which one did I buy? Of course the Touareg. Yeah, on the point of that, the Mustang being an EV, why not just make an EV Mustang? People would be more likely to buy that, I think, if they were existing fans, to try something new. Recent GT finals in Monaco. I don't watch any of the live events. I only watch stuff like the Lamborghini reveal. But it was cool. Hizel is, well, he's not a friend, but he's a friend of the channel to some degree. I had no idea that he'd actually watched some of my videos in the past, but if you go back to one of the Tocker reviews from ages ago, he actually commented on one, and I didn't realise who he was at the time. And that was like 2 years ago, I think. And for those who don't know, Hizel has actually been on the channel recently. He was in the community spotlight. The video didn't get many views, though, which kind of surprised me. That was disappointing. But he's my favourite of those drivers, for sure, because he's got personality. He's got character. All the rest of them are like, oh, I'm so fast. He seems more laid back. I prefer that. Ever played Driver 2 or 3? No, I own them. I've actually never played any of the other Driver games. High Race, Marussia. Yes, I do like the Marussia, actually. Hot take on the Marussia. To me, that looks like a Subaru supercar. Probably nobody else thinks that, but I do. Least favourite track in Forza? Well, yeah, as you said on Discord, Ness, Sedona, for sure. Or it's probably Sedona, that's the one that comes to mind. Burnout, there are some Burnout games that I haven't played. Burnout 2 I definitely did. I played a little bit of Paradise. I don't remember much of the music. Is there a reason why the GTR Nismo has a higher top speed than a Huayra? Oh, right, yeah, 300 kilos heavier. I thought you meant the Nismo prototype. spitting everywhere. Yeah, there is a legitimate reason, Hippocaus. It's Japanese. And that's valid enough for Kaz. Could I link you the video? Do you mean the Hizal vid, Chris? Hang on a second. I shall try and do just that. Spotlight Hizal. Share. Copy the link. Back to the live stream. See if this works. Yeah, there you go. You can watch Maciel Hizal here on the channel. I contacted him on Twitter asking him if he'd like to be a part of the... Thanks, Chris. If he'd like to be a part of it. And he said, yeah. So, it's pretty quick. He linked the video, and it was a pretty cool race. I think it was quite a long video, actually. It might be like 15 minutes or something. Should Project Gotham or Enthusia make a return? Yes. Yes, they should. Project Gotham 5 is something which a ton of people want. I believe Turn 10, who make Forza, had something to do with buying Project Gotham or something like that. They definitely had a relationship in the past, because some of the car models are used in both games, like the TVR Speed 12. Enthusia is a very underrated game. I would still strongly argue it is the single best rival that Gran Turismo had, because Forza wasn't really trying to be. Enthusia 2, sure. I mean, it would probably fail, but PGR 2, I hear that a lot from people, that you like that one the most. 4 is my favourite because it features my favourite vehicle of all time, the Y2K Turbine Superbike, and also I love the fact that it has cars and bikes to that degree. But I can understand why people would like Project Gotham 2. The graphics are very good for its time. Obviously, I did the first review for that game the other day with the KN Turbo. Felt great. I love the physics. And the layout of the game was a little bit Gran Turismo-esque, with like walking through the different dealerships and having realistic cars. That was cool. Daihatsu Midget or Dome Zero? Ridge Racer should make a return. Never really got into Ridge Racer, and in answer to that question, Daihatsu Midget. But only the 1963 one. That has 3 wheels. Something's making a weird noise in here. Don't know what it is. Greetings from Greece. Greetings from England. What was the hardest thing to learn in the mechanics course? Ooh. I would say that was one of 2 things. Either electrical in general, because I hate electrical stuff. I'm a mechanically minded person, and most of the electrical side is math-based, which... but I would say that the gearbox stuff was pretty difficult as well. But mostly the gearbox practical side, you know, when you're actually taking all of the gears out, all that kind of stuff, and putting it back together especially, that it's a pretty precise thing. It's like trying to take apart a really big watch with all these interlinking things that need to be exactly right. But one of my biggest problems in college was that I doubted myself. I would always second-guess myself. It's one of the biggest problems I've had in life, actually. I know what the right thing is to do, or the correct answer is, and then I overthink it and get it wrong. What do you think about people whose favourite Gran Turismo is GT3? I don't think anything about the people. Gran Turismo 3 is my least favourite game in the franchise, but sure. Yeah, pretty much, Gordon. Also, it would seem. I'm not testing the gameplay at the moment because, well, 2 reasons. One, this is only a live stream test anyway, but also because I want the chat to be working on the screen in order to do that properly. Have I seen Craptastic Jack? The name sounds familiar, but no. Warframe, nope. Autozam or Cappuccino? Cappuccino. Hot take, never been a fan of the AZ1 Autozam. Cappuccino's just a honest little sports car, sure. And the Cappuccino is probably my favourite K sports car, actually. My favourite K car is not, but my favourite K sports car. Greetings from Florida. Oh, I've got a couple of friends in Florida. I'd love to see more streams. Thanks, buddy. I plan to do more streams of multiple games. GT5 came out 9 years ago. Yeah, that is crazy. It is. It has aged very well. Polski Maloof. Well, I've never heard of that. Not a huge fan of the Fiat 500, so let's take a risk. Go for the Polski. Fastest car I've been in. Fastest car I've been in is probably the fastest car I've also driven. The BMW i8 Roadster. And that was a lot of fun. And for those who don't know, I reviewed the i8 Roadster. It's on the channel. Favorite dog breed? Well, based on dogs that I've had, which is one, I would say Pitbull. I had an American Staffordshire Terrier, which is commonly known as a Pitbull, named Biscuit. He weighed 45 kilos, and he was a great dog. But conceptually, my favourite dog breed is probably a Frenchie, French Bulldog, because they're super cute. Yes, I think the servers going down on GT6 was a very bad decision. And it clearly showed that Polyphony does not care about what the community wants. Because if they did, they'd have left it up for longer. Alfa Romeo 8C, yes, I have consistently predicted that one should come back. I really hope it does. It would be a perfect rival for the Maserati Gran Turismo. Incidentally, I recently tried, a couple of weeks ago, tuning the Maserati Gran Turismo for N400 racing on the Nordschleife, and I destroyed so many people in public lobbies. Nobody thinks that Maserati is as good as it is. It's really good. And seriously, I was beating 911 GT3s with it. It was that good. And that was on comfort softs as well, not even racing tyres. Greetings from Norway. Hi, buddy. Racing spec cars, yeah, of course they should bring them back, especially if you have the option of doing it yourself. One of my old fans, oh yeah, see the video about the VGT. Hope you enjoyed it, bud. I love making conceptual videos like that. One of my favourite things to do is design cars. It's one of the reasons why I never actually became a mechanic after becoming qualified as one. I realised that I'd rather design cars than fix other people's problems. Iron Mike, do I have general knowledge or do I research? It's a combination of both. The videos that I do by far the most research on are, unsurprisingly, Unsung Heroes. Because with Unsung Heroes, each car has its own backstory. And I like to make that as much like a story as it can be. And some of them are great stories. But yeah, it's a combination of both. General knowledge from being a mechanic and also just loving cars my whole life. But yeah, I sometimes research specific things. Like, for instance, I didn't know that the Mazda Demio was a diesel. So research helps with stuff like that. Greetings from New York. Hi, buddy. Hi from Malaysia as well. It's very cool that you guys are all over. Bentley Continental GT3. A lot of love for that car. A lot of people said that they'd love that Bentley. I definitely would. I would say I would prefer the Speed 8 over that if I had to choose. But yeah, a Bentley Continental GT3 would be pretty awesome. And unfortunately, it probably wouldn't end up in the live events. Because most of the live manufacturers seem to only be ones who have like an N car, a Group 4, and a Group 3. So, unfortunately. Yes, the Vision GT program is beginning to rise again for sure. Is YouTube my main job? At the moment, yes, it is. Is there some new Midnight Club series? Not that I'm aware of. Is there any turbine car that I just like? Oh yeah, for sure. There are quite a few that I just think, oh, that's cool. First one that comes to mind is the Toyota GTV, which I think I did an unsung episode on. I think that's fine. It's not a good-looking car, but I love the fact that it has a turbine. Leicester. Hi, buddy. I'm from Birmingham originally. As if you couldn't tell, because my accent isn't there anymore. Car that feels the most human. Well, I know the car that's designed to feel the most human, the Nike, because you're like laying in the car. Similar with the Chaparral. Car that feels the most human's hard to say, because, you know, it depends if you're talking real life or in the game. Of all the cars that I've driven in real life, the BMW i8, for sure. It felt like an extension of you. It was very nice. In a game, the Nike's the only one that comes to mind, really. But for me, probably the Chaparral. Hello from Hungary. Hi, buddy. Hello from Finland. Hi, buddy. The SLR, that's crazy. I don't know what's crazy, buddy. I don't know what you mean. The SLR is my favourite car from Mercedes. Yeah, I think it's probably my favourite Mercedes too, actually. My favourite car used to be the CLK GTR, but not anymore. The SLR Roadster is my favourite Mercedes. There's some on Google. If you type in blue SLR Roadster, there's a gorgeous looking one. Turbine wheels, blue paint, tan interior. Become a real-life test driver. I would love to. But at the same time, it wouldn't leave me much time to do this kind of stuff. So, but in effect, I actually already am a real-life test driver. I've done 2 real-world car reviews here on the channel. I reviewed my car, the Touareg, and the BMW i8. Do I upload the livery competition on the Sunday? Yes, I do. I didn't do it last Sunday because the Lamborghini dropped, and it would have just overshadowed the video. Would I like the Nismo 400R? Sure. Yeah, sure. I don't love the car, but yeah. It's not like one of my favourites. Yeah, I'd like to think the same, actually. I mean, I'd love to see a Maserati Vision GT, of course. I mean, they never made a La Maserati, so why not do it in fictional form? That would be pretty nice. Dublin, hi, buddy. My grandmother, late grandmother, was from Dublin. I'm a quarter Irish. Thoughts on LM versions of cars? Sure. I don't think there will be many. We've had only one that I can think of so far, the McLaren GTR. Take on the Suzuki Escudo. It's the most memed car of the whole series, and it is overwhelmingly fast. I've always preferred the Cultus, the blue one from GT2, which was slower, but I just liked it more. But movie guy voice advertising Ford v Ferrari.
This summer, the car movie you've been waiting for. Ford v Ferrari. Only in selected cinemas. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, the Escudo's an amazing car, but it's never been one of my favourite cars. It's just it's very fast, and that's cool. Just found the SLR. What do you mean? I didn't make the blue SLR. What's your setup? Way too much to get into to answer that. YouTube, Xbox, Hopage, Streamlabs. Yeah, add it to the list. Oh, right, yeah, beating the Porsches, yeah. Lancia v Audi. Actually, that's a cool idea, to be honest, in the Group B era. That would be a cool movie. But I would say they definitely shouldn't call it that. They should call the movie Group B. And that would be pretty cool. And it wouldn't need to be a Lancia v Audi story. You could even have the Ferrari that I talked about in Unsung Heroes recently in there. You could have the Lada, I think it was, Group B car, various others. Dedicated category for trucks. Of course, we need so many more categories, but they're clearly not going to do that at this point. Hi, Azray. How would I feel if they added the Top Gear test track? Yeah, cool. I'm not a super fan of the Top Gear track. It's kind of a meme of a circuit, obviously, because of the series. But sure, I liked it in Forza, but didn't love it. As I've said before, I like tracks that are really long. Favourite white van man car other than the Transit? Probably the Mercedes Sprinter. Tons of space, very fast, and they got a good reputation. When you look at the Escudo and realise it resembles the Gran Vitara, well, that's because it is one. The Escudo is a Gran Vitara. Escudo is another name for the Gran Vitara in other places. It is based on the Suzuki Gran Vitara. But it's a twin-engine version with a picnic table for a rear wing. Is Touareg V10 your personal manager? Not quite. He's just a good source. He enjoys data mining quite a lot. He likes looking into the coding of games and stuff. But he's good. He's good at what he does. He's not always the only person to give me news. He just tends to be the first one. Probably because of his time zone. I think he's in Portugal or something, so he sees things a little bit earlier, when I'm still asleep. Opinion on bikes? Of course, I love bikes. I have a full motorbike license, which I recently got. I plan to do motorbike reviews on the channel as well, and I want to buy a motorbike as soon as possible. Should there be more rally cars? Yes, of course there should. Driving-wise, sim racing controller. That's it. I don't use a wheel. I use a controller. I use no traction control, the lowest ABS setting possible, and automatic gearbox. Because I'm lazy. Yes, the drift community is definitely neglected by Gran Turismo, but let's be honest, it always has. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the community spotlight. There are loads of drift videos in there. So if you're a good drifter, or if you do tandem drifting with teams and stuff, send in the videos and I'll feature them on the channel. Mercedes 300 Gullwing. Again, yep, I've predicted that one will probably come back. Least favourite car I've been in? Probably a Peugeot 205 that my dad used to own. It was the 4-door 205 1.8 diesel. White. Ugh. Poontang Boomerang. Well, the windows are tinted for a reason. What if Polyphony made a story mode? Well, that's basically career mode, isn't it? Gran Turismo doesn't need a story. They was talking about a Gran Turismo movie, but it'd probably just be a Kaz movie, really. Point to point, yes, they do. I don't know if you play GT5, but they have that. In GT5, the rally events are point to point, and they're very fun. I'm streaming now. Seems so. This is more of a test bud, kind of a live Q&A as well. Wonder why the Hilux hasn't been added. Well, it's a Toyota, and we've already got the what's it called? Not the Tacoma, the one that we've got in the game. So it'd be kind of pointless having both. Where can you send them? If you click on the channel, like click on my name, in other words, or on the logo, whatever, it'll take you to the main channel page, then click on playlists, and one of the top ones is GT Sport Community Spotlight. Click on that playlist. First video gives you the instructions. In fact, no, the second video does. The first one's the announcement, and then just follow that. It's very, very simple. Lada Niva, not a chance. Kaz clearly gives a lot more love to Nazi vehicles than Russia. Yep. Come on, chat. Targa Florio, yeah. I'd love to see stuff like the Targa Florio, the Mille. That kind of stuff would be cool. Tundra, yeah, that's the one. Are you turning with the analog stick? Yeah. I have it set up basically like an Xbox controller. So I have the right trigger is throttle, left trigger is brake, and then just analog steering. People quite often say that I look too smooth to be using a controller. But yeah, I love it. And back in the day, people used to say, oh, you think a controller's good because you can't drive, because you don't have a real car. Well, now I do. Have a car license, a car and a motorbike license, and no, a steering wheel in Gran Turismo is not realistic. Which Skodas would you like to see in GT? Well, I would first of all love to see Skoda in GT or Forza, but of course GT for this community mostly. I would actually love to see them feature Skoda as a manufacturer's eligible category. So have like a Fabia VRS for N200, but then have an Octavia VRS for Group 4, which would be like the Mazda Atenza touring car, and for Group 3. Imagine that, this white and green, wide-bodied Skoda Octavia would be so cool. What made the CLK LM better in GT5? The use that you could get out of it, really. You could just use it to do more stuff. Plus, in GT5, there were less, I believe, less of those OP prototypes, or at least the prototypes weren't presented as being quite as OP. Rest in peace, Niki Lauda. Yeah, a little bit late there, buddy, but yeah. How many cars should GT7? Realistically, well, let's be honest. Realistically, it should start with everything that we've got in GT Sport, which should be at least, 350 cars? Any less than that, and they're having a laugh. Will I ever love McLaren? Nope. I respect them, but I don't love them. I find it difficult to love a team who lobbied to get Chaparral banned from Can-Am because Chaparral was going to dominate, and then that team who lobbied against them, McLaren, ended up doing what, I wonder? Dominating. And yet, did they vote themselves out? Did they stop? No, of course they didn't. It's pathetic. If I could go to any motorsport event other than Goodwood, where would I go? Le Mans, for sure. 24 hours at Lassat, for sure. I might actually go. I've considered going to the Nürburgring as well for the N24, but we'll see. I've also considered doing, and I might actually still do this, a series where I take my Touareg around every racetrack in the UK. Like Silverstone, Brands Hatch, Snetterton, Thruxton. But we'll see. Gran Turismo 4. Yeah, a whole lot of Gran Turismo 4. Will Polyphony ever make a motorbike game? They already did. It's called Tourist Trophy on the PS2. It's the best motorbike game ever made. Will they ever make a Tourist Trophy 2? Well, I did an entire Beards and Cars episode on that. I hope they do. Kaz has said it's possible. I don't see it happening soon, but I would like to see it happen. Chances of Chaparral returning, well, they're already in there. We've got the Chaparral 2X, so obviously they've got the license to some degree, so yeah, I'd love to see them come back. The only problem would be we already know where they'd end up. Top favourite Gran Turismo games? Well, if I order them, I don't count the prologues, I don't count the Tokyo Motor Show, pull my finger, all that kind of stuff. I would say number 1 is GT4, number 2 is GT6, because of what it did for the channel, then GT2, because it was my childhood, then GT5, because it was a good game, then probably GT Sport, actually, then GT1, then GT3. Just looking for any questions and stuff. If I had to support an F1 team, well, I don't think they race anymore, but Jaguar. The 2004 Jaguar HSBC colours are my favourite livery of any Formula car ever. And I'd support them purely based on that, because it's as good a reason as any. But also Brabham. Brabham's cool in the 70s with the fan car. Classic Skyline 4-door. Classic one, sure. I like the R33 and the R34 4-doors. They're pretty nice. How long has this stream been going for? Wow. Hour and 8 minutes. The real question, naturally aspirated or forced induction? Depends on the car, but for the most part, naturally aspirated. I do like that purity. But I sure wouldn't want my Touareg to be naturally aspirated. Come and drift with us as a video or talk about the problems. I'm not really a drifter. I can drift, but I'm not a drifter. Best GT intro movie? Oh, it's got to be 4. With Moon Over the Castle. It's an iconic song. Would I like to see a racing truck update? It would depend on the kind of truck. If you're talking like NASCAR trucks, then sure. If you're talking like Baja stuff, then definitely. Heard I didn't like Spa. That's true. Well, no, it's not true. I don't dislike Spa. I just don't, lose my nut over it like everybody else does. It's fine. I prefer Laguna Seca. Favourite Ferrari? FF. It's my dream car. In blue, with a tan interior. Exclusive cars. Do you think the new Maserati will have the same formula? Probably not, to be honest. Maserati doesn't seem to have that much of a relationship with polyphony. We've only got one car, and I'm pretty sure the only reason why we've got that one is because it's called Gran Turismo, so they couldn't really not include it in the game. I would love it if they did, but no, I don't see it happening. Should dynamic weather return? Sure. Yeah, sure. I don't care about weather. Weather for me is like Spa. I'm only hyped about it because the community is, and it's my job as a content creator to be hyped on behalf of you guys. But for me, I couldn't care less. The only kind of weather I care about is snow, because it's different. And nothing Gran Turismo ever does is going to be as cool as the rain in Drive Club, as far as I'm concerned. Do I think the Audi R10 will return? I would love it to return, and it would make all the sense in the world, because the Peugeot 908 is in there, but probably not. Did I see the World Finals? I think somebody else did already ask that. No. I'm aware that Hizal won. He's a friend of the channel to some degree, as I said earlier on. I congratulated him on Twitter. Beyond that, no, I just watched the Lamborghini unveiling. Do I like GT Sport with VR? Never tried it. Never used VR, actually, in any form. I've never even put a VR headset on. Doesn't really appeal to me. Do I host lobbies? Very rarely, yeah. I tend to host lobbies when I just feel like having a race. Because the problem is, if I announce it ahead of time, like a subscriber lobby, there are 48,000 of us here, and you can have 20 people in a lobby. It just doesn't seem fair. So I like to just do it randomly. Favourite Mitsubishi? Actually, I do know the answer to that. The 1983, I think it is, Mitsubishi Lancer 1800 intercooler turbo. The white, really boxy looking one in Gran Turismo's past. Rear-wheel drive, like 180 horsepower. Love it. Looks a little bit like a Peugeot 405/Volvo. But yeah, I like that one. What is the car that looks the most like me? I don't know. Probably the Tesla Cybertruck. Will the 2000 GTR? I don't know what that is, mate. Regular Italia over Speziale. Yes, as I said in my review of that car, the Ferrari 458 is a strange vehicle to me because I love everything about it except the car. I love the way it handles, love the way it sounds, love the interior. For some reason, though, I just don't love the car overall. Favourite film car? I already answered that one. The Captain Nemo's car from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Motion control. No, I haven't tried it. Actually. More Group 3 road cars. Well, apparently we've got the Mazda coming, but apart from that, Touareg looks like me. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could get that. Big and round. Kind of a sleeper, yeah. Farts out black smoke. Good morning from California. Hey there, buddy. I would love to go to California. LA, especially. For various reasons. Hey, DJJ Dill. Infineon Raceway is now called Sonoma. Yeah, I think so. Something like that. I love Infineon. I would love Infineon to come back. Infineon over Spa every day of the week. I used to hate Infineon as a kid, but now I absolutely love it. Favourite car or track from the original game? I've barely played the original Gran Turismo at all. That's why I actually leave a lot of that stuff for Ness to cover here in the chat. He's one of the Patreon sponsors for the channel. But I don't know. I don't know the car list enough. Will I take the Touareg to visit the Nordschleife? I would love to. My insurance does not cover it. It's funny because I was reading the fine print and it specifically says this policy does not cover driving on racetracks, track day experiences, or the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which was funny. But yeah, I'd love to go. Favourite British car? Ooh, I feel like that should come to mind quickly, but... Well, the first one that comes to mind is TVR Speed 12, but if I could own any British car, I do know what it is. Aston Martin Rapide. Love that car. Hi Shark Dude. Thoughts on the E36? You really want my thoughts on that? I think it's overrated. I like it enough, but yeah. I think it's become like a meme because of Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I think it's fine. It's a fine car, but I have to say, every time I see one on the road, I think they sound bad. They just sound bad, as far as I'm concerned. Stock pipes at least. I'm sure you can change that. Laguna Seca or Sonoma? Infineon. Yeah, Sonoma of the two. Will Silverstone return? It would make a lot of sense, and it certainly wouldn't surprise me. I'm not a fan, surprise, surprise, of Silverstone, but yeah, a lot of people would be. Okayama, yeah, I don't know. I think the most likely Japanese track is by far Motegi, and I think it's probably one of the most requested as well. Yeah, Infineon was a hardcore track in GT4. It's probably why I didn't like it at the time, because I was like 10 years old. The most meh car ever built? Probably the Nissan Serena, which again, my family owned years ago. Favourite fictional track? Complex String, for sure. Because technically Seattle is a real location, but I love Seattle. Seattle is by far my favourite city circuit. And again, hot take, nuclear take, I would take Seattle over Monaco every time. Favourite Le Mans winning car? No, why would it be the BMW V12? I never talk about that car. My favourite Le Mans winning car. Ooh, that's interesting because it does narrow it down. It's got to be something that won, so it can't be a Panos or a Cadillac. Door. The Door 962. Won in 1994, I think. Oh, yes. Yeah, I was thinking of the E46. Oh, I see what you mean, bud, yeah. Because the E46, I think they sound bad. So tinny. It sounds like a Porsche Boxster, but like an original Boxster. E36, it seems very popular. It's a fantastic, cheap track day car to, strip it out, all that kind of stuff. I get why people like it. Not a huge fan myself. I'm actually not a huge fan of most Beamers. The i8 is by far my favourite. The only M3 that I actually like is the original, the E30, in the Sport Evo 2 form, with the Alcantara steering wheel and the little extra lip on the rear wing, and a chin splitter on the front. Somebody said something about... Should the Morgan three-wheeler come? Definitely. See that in Nations Cup. I know that Maverick from the Discord server would love it if Morgan came to the game. Ness, nah. Ness doesn't really have any place in Gran Turismo anymore. Especially because Kaz is clearly trying to make everyone take it so seriously. Which model car do I most want to add, including the colour? Well, I mentioned a couple of them earlier. The Aston Lola's really high for me. I do love that car in Gulf colours. I do love the Mosler as well. There are two. And I'd have to decide between them because as far as I know, they don't actually make either of these. Either a 118 Chaparral 2J or a 118 SSC Ultimate Aero in blue and black. Because although I don't talk about it a huge amount, the SSC Ultimate Aero is my dream hypercar. And it's my favourite hypercar. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Tuatara can do. Favourite 4-cylinder hatchback? Lancia Delta, Evo 2 probably. Actually no, Renault Megane R26. That's a 2-litre straight 4. Love the Renault Megane R26 in yellow. The 787B did win Le Mans, but it won in 91. The V12 won in 99, the Beamer. I do love the 787B. It's actually my dad's favourite car, the Mazda 787B. Would I like to own an RS4 Avant? Depends on the model. My favourite RS4 is by far the 2.7 litre bi-turbo from 2001. They're pretty rare these days. Of course I'd want it in yellow. But I love those. I still don't know if I'd actually buy one, but Gran Turismo's at its best when it doesn't take itself too seriously. Well, I totally agree with that. I mean, no argument from me, but clearly that isn't what they're doing anymore. Reliant Robin, what about it? Keep on streaming. I'm assuming you're leaving, mate, so I'll see you in a bit. Ryan Maverick. Thanks for the support. Twat. Hello, Mike. Hi, Lewis. How high are the chances that we'll get cars such as the E36, E46, more Golfs? It's possible. Most of those weren't premiums, which makes their chances worse more often than not, but sure, I'd like to see them. More homologation cars is never a bad thing. Do I play rally games? Not really anymore, actually, because the era of rallying that I loved is kind of past. My favourite rally game of all time is... what's it called? It's a WRC game, but it was on the PS2. I think it came out in 2004, but it's the one where you can race for like Hyundai or Skoda, and in the menu, in the garage menu, you can press explode, and it makes the car come out into all these pieces. Whichever one that was. But I also love WRC Extreme, I think it is. The one where they've got those fictionalized rally cars that don't exist, like the bright yellow Peugeot 307 rally car that's got like 600 horsepower. Yeah, Rally Evolved. Yeah, that's cool. And the Skoda. Oh, the Skoda in that game is so cool. A 911 van. Wouldn't surprise me, mate. Porsche hatchback. Years ago, Porsche said they were considering a hatchback. Thoughts on the Panos teaser? Well, I love Panos. Love all of their cars. Oh, somebody's made a donation, have they? Thanks, Richel. Thanks, buddy. All of that does make a difference, so thank you. What was I saying? I don't know. Doesn't take much to throw me off track. I'm a fan of the 599 and the DB9. 599, kind of. DB9, no. I love the DBS, though. Forza or GT? Talking about everything, really. Rally Evolved. Yeah, I think it must have been Rally Evolved. I would love, I think, is it Codemasters who made that? Something like that. But I'd love it if they teamed up with Gran Turismo and just did the rally side of the game. Best car I've ever driven in GT Sport. Well, that's easy. It's my favourite car in the game. Shelby Daytona Cobra. And have I driven with a steering wheel? Yes, I have. And many of you probably haven't seen this because it's not on my channel. But I actually participated in a live event for GT Sport. But it was in 2016, before the game was even released. And it is on YouTube. In fact, I could try to find that for you and show you it. Because I actually put my name down on the list as Mike Hammer, so that they'd pronounce it the right way. What am I doing? Actually, it'll take too long to find it now. Thanks, Vegas. Evolution Studio. Oh, is that who did WRC? The steering wheel, I'm not sure what steering wheel it was. It was the one that has a GT logo in the middle. It's perfectly round. Never guess, right? And it's got like 4 silver adjustment wheels. But yeah, I did a race on Brands Hatch. There was 16 of us in those live seats up on stage. And I chose the Jag, I think, the F-Type, because I wanted to drive something that was new at the time. I finished 4th out of 16 people, which, considering that's the first time I've ever used a wheel, I was pretty happy with that. And the same guy who does the commentary now, you know, whatever his name is, Tom or something, he was spectating or commentating that event as well. But it was a good race. I Rock, what, Camaro, I Rock. Yeah, I see a lot of love for that one. Am I satisfied? Do I have a... hang on, I'll scroll up a little bit. Oh, that's a good question, Ness. Am I going to tell the chat some stuff about Drive? Well, for those of you who are on Discord, you already know this. Just adjust the brightness a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah, I'm in the very early planning stages of looking into making my own racing game called Drive. And as I said, those of you who are on the Discord server already know this. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I want to make it on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, if possible. But my first goal is to try and make a demo, like a crowd-funded demo. But we'll see. We'll see. Have I ever used manual? Yeah, occasionally. I only use manual when I have to. You know, if it's a car with an awkward gearbox or something like that. Waiting for me to get a TV job. Well, it's funny you should mention that, because even though it wasn't a presenting job, I actually am on TV. I'm an extra in a series that I can't tell you for legal reasons yet, but it is season 2 of a popular series currently on BBC, in episode 6 of season 2. So yeah, I technically have, I'm technically a TV actor to some degree. I ended up having the most important role in the scene of any of the extras, which was pretty cool. I had a fake baby strapped to me, and I had to make it look realistic. It was a great day, though. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I had to drive to Cardiff to record, and it was great fun. So many extras there. There was like 50 of us, and it was great. And having this fake baby strapped to me was great, because it ended up allowing me to just chat with everyone. Quite a lot of good-looking girls there, actually. Do a funny voice. What kind of voice? Whenever somebody asks me to do a voice, I forget everyone that I can do. You're talking something like Homer J. Simpson. Silverstone and Monaco. What theme? Do you mean like soundtrack? Or do you mean like the visual theme? Because soundtrack-wise, I would hire a music, maker, an artist. And the kind of vibe that I want with the music is like Midtown Madness or Runabout, Felony, 1179, that kind of thing. Kind of a almost slightly old school soundtrack. Almost 8-bit, but not quite. Will Koenig said come. A lot of people would be happy if they did. I don't know. Writing a script for a racing video game. Interesting. So you're planning to have a story in it. Cool. Mine's not a story-based game. Mine's going to be like a Gran Turismo, Forza, that kind of thing. Fallout 3 or 4? 4. Not even close, mate. Not even close. Fallout 4 is my favourite of the series. 76 was a major disappointment. Fallout 3, I completed it, and then the fact that the real ending was DLC locked, forget it. Took the disc out, put it in the box, never played it again. A funny voice, just do a Brummy accent. Yeah, for those who don't know. For instance, some of our American friends who probably can't understand anything I'm saying now, but this is what my actual accent would sound like if I was still in Birmingham, which is where I was born. This is what my voice would sound like. It's what my dad's voice sounds like. But the problem with the Brummy accent is you kind of sound like you're always apologising for something, because everything's really high. It's a funny accent. It's an accent from the UK that a lot of people don't know about, if you're not from the UK. It's not like Scotland, where the Scottish accent is kind of known all over the world. Or the Irish accent. Plenty of people know about the Irish because they like moved over to the stateside and all that, set up the little bars in Boston and all that. But the Brummy accent's not as well known, like. Oh, Midnight Club. Cool. Yeah. We need a new Midnight Club. But yeah, on the question of Fallout 3 or 4, Fallout 4 is one of my favourite games of all time. I have no word of a lie played through that game's story at least 20 times. At least. I love it. And as soon as I complete it, I start playing it again. I love it because there are so many different choices you can make. Sometimes I'm with the Brotherhood, sometimes the Railroads, sometimes the Institute. It's great. It's great. I love it. Try to imitate Schwarzenegger. That's not really a voice that I do. You got to be good to do a Schwarzenegger voice, and nah. If only James Bond came from Dudley. The name's Bond. James Bond. License to kill, like. Where am I from? I'm from England, right in the middle of England originally, Birmingham. And, well, thank you. I appreciate that the accent wasn't that bad. I'm from England, from the middle. It's called the Midlands, Birmingham specifically. Lived in a place called Shard. And for those who are in America, Birmingham is kind of like the Detroit of England, centre of industry, lots of car production, but also a lot of crime. But I don't live there anymore anyway. The accent that I have now is technically called received pronunciation. It's basically just neutral English. Although some people, 2 people in my life, have been able to tell that I was a Brummie, even talking like this. I guess there's a slight twang on the end of some sentences. How would you feel if Tesco... What? If Tesco bought Polyphony Digital? What are you talking about, mate? Maverick would be happy about that. Get on the chapter! Get down! Scissors. The only word I can say in a Scottish accent is scissors. What's the worst car ever built? Script isn't just planning everything you need. Menu, soundtrack, cars, characters. One of the reasons why my Scottish accent is decent is because another one of my favourite games ever is Let's raise the brightness a little bit. One of my favourite games ever is Theme Park World, and there's this little round, like, cannonball-looking guy who gives you tips on how to run the park, and he has a Scottish accent. Can you do a Geordie accent? I don't think so. I'm not actually great with accents from the UK, ironically. I can do Scottish accent, Irish accent, even somewhere from like Down Under. Because the funny thing about a Down Under accent from Australia is it sounds a little bit like a Brummie. And I should think that somebody maybe from like California or something wouldn't really know the difference between an Australian accent and a Brummie accent, because they kind of sound slightly similar. They're both kind of high, a little bit apologetic and quite rapid fire. When does the new update come out? 28th, bud. It's coming out on the 28th. Have your $6.99 ready. Favorite childhood TV series? Spider-Man. Yeah. With Venom. Dead. Yeah, Theme Park World, Gordon. Yeah. You're not getting very many visitors to your park. Have you tried lowering your prices? It's time to put in a new feature. He's so annoying. He's almost as annoying as Tiff Nadell in Tocker. Midtown Madness. Hey, thanks, Andy. Thank you. You look nothing like what I think. Trust me, mate, I get that a lot. Most people think I'm a 45-year-old who collects train sets.
Maybe it would be more accurate if I like talk like this all the time. A bit of a Statham vibe.
What was I saying? Lost my thought again. Oh yeah, Midnight Club. I own all of the Midnight Clubs, but I've never played the first couple that much. Midtown Madness, I remember playing it on a PC. It was the one that had the Panos in there, because I think there's more than one game, isn't there? But yeah, I used to play it at a friend's house, because I never owned it. I've never been a PC gamer. Best Vauxhall. Well, it depends how strict you want to be. If you're talking like pure British Vauxhall, or if you mean like the whole GM group. Because obviously some of those, like the Monaro, is not really a Vauxhall, it's a Holden. So if you allow anything, Monaro VXR. Such a great value car. You can buy them for like 15 grand here in the UK, and you've got yourself literally a Corvette engined 4-seater coupe with fantastic sound, 400 horses, and 180 miles an hour. I mean, if you're talking pure Vauxhalls, though, I would say actually a pretty obscure Vauxhall might be my favourite, called the Caliber. It's, I think, only available in red, and it was like an evolution of the Cavalier at the time, and it's not fast by today's standards, but it was a pretty cool car. The Carlton, nah, not a fan of the Carlton, mate. I know people love the Lotus Carlton, but it's just never done it for me, really. Insignia VXR is pretty cool. I must say I've got a lot of love for a number of the VXRs, especially from the 2000s. The Zafira, the 7-seater people carrier, that is such a cool car. Being a fast minivan is cool. I'm actually a fan of the Mariva, I think it's the Mariva VXR, which is kind of like a rival to the Fiat Panda. Very undervalued and surprisingly quick little car. VX220, of course, is cool. The Vectra VXR is very quick. The wagon, in particular, I like of that one. But I don't think there's any Vauxhall that I'd actually buy, to be honest. Favourite racing game, apart from Gran Turismo? Forza, of course. Forza 4, specifically. We already had the Koenigsegg question. It's so hard to say. You know, when companies like Zenvo have said that they want to be in the game and we still haven't had them, who knows? Death Stranding versus Cyberpunk. Haven't played either of them. From what I've heard, Death Stranding is a little bit slow, but it looks cool. I think Death Stranding would have probably been better as a movie, though, from what I've seen. Cyberpunk, you know, everyone loves Keanu. Of the two, I'd probably try out Cyberpunk. But to be honest with you, I don't play very many of the latest games. Most of my favourite games are from the 2000s. Stuff like Shadow of the Colossus and Alice Madness Returns and Fallout. theme park world. Actually, I'm not sure if that's from the 2000s. That might be late 90s. Such an odd experience seeing Mike talk while YouTube is muted. What you mean, like, because of the eyebrows and all that? Did I play the original Grid? I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Briefly. Is that the one where the first race you do is like in stock cars? Like banger racing kind of stuff? I didn't like the physics. Do I like Infamous? I watched somebody play it. I think it might have been PewDiePie. But never played it myself. I would actually love to make a horror game myself, and I know exactly what the story would be as well. I would like to make a true sequel, a survival horror sequel to The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing is my favourite movie of all time, and it would be set on a research ship in the Arctic. No lights, just flickering, first-person view, no weapons, and you just have to survive with creatures that can morph, and you can't tell if the crew members can be trusted or not. It would be an excellent game. The original soundtrack as well, that boom 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 boom, great soundtrack. Thoughts on Le Mans? Never played it much, actually. There are quite a few PS2 games that I'd like to do content for, which I just never got into, really. But I love the soundtrack. Ever had experience with Monster Hunter? No. I'm aware of it. Seen a little bit of play, but no, I haven't played it myself. Nightmare Creatures. The name sounds familiar, but I haven't played it. And for those who don't know, there actually is a game of The Thing, technically, from 2002 on the PS2. I actually started doing a playthrough of it here on the channel years ago. Dead Space. Again, I own all of the Dead Space games, never actually played them though. I've got so many games that I haven't played. Oh, Prototype. Yes, I do love Prototype. Prototype 1 and 2 are both cool. I would love a Prototype 3. I think I actually did a video on how you could make a Prototype 3 story. But the first Prototype is my favourite for sure. And Alex Mercer might be my favourite video game character ever. He's so badass. And he's the kind of character where you could put him into like any Marvel or DC movie and he would kill everyone. He's like unkillable. He's basically the human equivalent of The Thing. Forza 2. Was that one that you won, Nick? You couldn't use it. Yeah, I've had that problem happen a few times, unfortunately. Oddworld's Odyssey, is that? Again, I'm aware of it. I haven't really played it. TRL Lightning, yes, congrats to him. In case you weren't here earlier, he's been featured on the channel in the community spotlight. Hizal. Any word on the World Finals? Didn't watch it. Only saw the highlights, basically. I wouldn't call it The Thing at all, actually. I mean, well, I might. But I'd probably call it Outpost 31. Because Outpost 31 is the camp where Kurt Russell and the crew is in the movie. But basically, very briefly, the story would be that you play a low-level seaman, for want of a better word, on this ship. Huge research vessel, like an icebreaker type thing, but not quite good enough because it gets stuck in the ice. Damages the ship. The radio's broken in the shunt when they crash. And they try the radio. Radio doesn't work, and they find that basically, according to the map, Outpost 31 is nearby, and they should have a radio. So you trek out to Outpost 31, and it's set immediately after the movie. So spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the 1982 film. But McCready is not there, but Childs is, the African-American actor. He's sitting there in the snow. He's still alive, but McCready's gone in the burnt ashes of the ending of the movie. And there's a flamethrower on the floor, and the game is based on your decisions. So this is the first choice that you get, but I'd have it so that the game doesn't tell you when you've got a choice to make. So you could easily make the wrong choice. So you walk up, and then you've got options. You can talk to Childs, and then you can think, well, if I think about this from the ending of the movie, then I could think, well, maybe Childs is the thing. If you think about it and you haven't seen the movie, well, then, of course, none of this would mean anything to you, and it would be like a new game experience. So you go up to Childs, and then the options that you have would be you can talk to Childs, and he explains, like, a version of what happened, and then your group of people helps him back to the ship. And he is the thing. And that's how the game progresses, because he gets on the ship, obviously starts infecting people, etc. But here's the thing. You can pick up the flamethrower, but only if you choose to. The game doesn't tell you that you can. You can pick it up out of the snow. Then, of course, you now have another choice. You could burn him without even asking questions. Technically, that gives you an advantage at the start of the game, because now you're starting with him as a corpse. So they still take him back to the ship, and obviously the game still progresses, but he doesn't have the advantage of being able to talk to everyone, because he's a corpse. So he has to start taking over the ship more covertly. Disadvantage is, you're now a murderer, because obviously they don't know it's the thing, and you don't in the game. You know it as the player, not the character. So then you start the game, when you're back on the ship, locked in a cell. Or not a cell, but like locked in an office, waiting to be interrogated. So it's like you give yourself a disadvantage, but you put the thing at a disadvantage as well. So it would be like choices like that. That would be cool. The flamethrower would be, and also actually I should mention that, picking up the flamethrower would give you an advantage in the game, because obviously if you don't pick it up and go back to the ship, you don't have a weapon. But if you pick it up, if for instance you pick it up but don't burn him, well, now he goes back to the ship. You are not a prisoner because you haven't murdered him, but you've still got a flamethrower. So it's a very decision-based game. And the decisions wouldn't change the story. They would change how you... They would change tactical choices rather than story choices. But yeah, that's what I'd love to do. And you could choose whether or not to trust people as you come across them in the ship, because some people obviously could like open up and try to attack you. Kind of thing. But yeah. Getting back to the car talk though. Mustang Mach-E, yeah, already covered that. Stupid name for a good car. High turbo, you didn't interrupt anything, that's the point of the chat. Favourite Group 3 car? Beetle. The Fire of London. Oh, okay. That sounds a little bit similar to Alice Madness Returns then, which, as I said, is one of my favourite games, because that game revolves around a fire. Or quite a lot of it does. It's also a pretty messed up game, actually. It's definitely not for kids. About kids, but not for kids, if you know what I mean. Do I like Rallycross? Sure. I don't follow it, but sure. Where would the Citroen 2CV be? Well, N100, but it would be useless. Opinion on the new Terminator. What was that? Something just flashed up. Oh, somebody followed. The new Terminator movie. I liked it. I didn't love it. My favourite Terminator is still the second one, but I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it was Sarah Connor. She was trying too hard to be tough. She's like, I'm a badass. Can't you tell? Just shut up. You're a badass before because you weren't trying to be. You know, Ripley in Alien isn't trying to be a badass. She just is. Favourite Initial D. Never followed any of that stuff, but based on purely what I've seen, I'd say the FCRX7. F-150 versus Cybertruck. But if I could actually own one, I would probably go for an F-150 SVT Lightning, the one that we had in Gran Turismo. And if I could choose any F-150 based vehicle, well, you already know what I'd choose. Saleen S331 Super Cab, which is my dream truck. Favourite V10? Probably mine, to be honest. The Touareg. Backward compatibility. Well, yeah, the Cybertruck is deliberately designed to look weird. It's brilliant. And again, I talked about this earlier on, but it's a great choice. Because if you love it or hate it, everyone's talking about it. The Vanquish. Yeah. Hot take again. I prefer that Vanquish to the new one. Especially the Vanquish S in white. See you later, Paul. Thanks for dropping in. I'll probably end the stream sometime soon because it's been going for an hour and 50 minutes, which wasn't the plan. But, yeah. I guess, I'm not sure actually if this, yeah. I guess I could release this as a full video after for people who missed the stream. But yeah, I'll probably end the stream at 2 hours, so about another 10 minutes. Would I say that GT2 is the superior? No, GT4 is. GT2 is great, especially for its time, but overall, GT4, for sure. For me, at least. Let's see if there's any questions that I missed. Like the Terminator movie, like I said... Oh, Xavier. How can I miss that? You tagged me in it. What is a game that I love that most people wouldn't expect me to love? Probably Theme Park World. It's not exactly a game that a lot of people talk about. And maybe Road Trip Adventure as well. A lot of people are put off it because of the way it looks. But yeah, I love Road Trip Adventure. It's a fantastic driving game. Forza 4, best Forza game. And it's my favourite Forza game. One of the best racing games ever made. Fantastic. Fantastic DLC. No, you can't race modify in GT4, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? There were like no LMP cars in GT2. There's loads of them in GT4. I know there are some. R390, Toyota GT1. Got any more books on the way? I have one planned, which I haven't started yet. What I like to do first is write up a draft, because I've found that I am the kind of writer where I need to know every single point of the story that I want to do before doing it. Because if I don't, I won't finish. Because for those who don't know, I'm a twice published author as well. I published 2 horror books on Amazon. And I'm pretty sure you can click a link down below and check them out. My first novel was called Buddy, which is about a young boy who's bullied at school, who meets this big guy on the way home from school, and this big guy offers to help the kid deal with his bullies, but in some pretty violent ways. And that one's kind of I would classify it as a coming-of-age psychological horror. And my second story is called Spore, and that is a direct homage and tribute to The Thing, and also to a movie from 2008 called Splinter. And that is about a girl in her late teens who's attending an illegal countryside rave at an old barn in England. And the police descend on the rave, everyone scatters, she runs into a tree and knocks herself out, wakes up in the back of the police car, but then the police car hits something, and then from then on, they have to survive. So basically, the concept behind it was I wanted to make a monster story where the whole thing takes place in a car. And that one's much more gory. It's a creature feature. See you later, buddy. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Looks Russian, maybe. Planning to buy any models, not apart from the ones that I already spoke about. Plus, the problem is now I don't have a huge amount of space for them. Most overrated actor. I'll be honest with you. What's his name? I'm awful with names. People say he's the best actor alive. He was in Gangs in New York. Hang on a second, I've got to look this up. I think his name begins with a P. Gangs of New York. Oh no, Daniel Day-Lewis. A lot of people think he's the best actor living today. I don't. He's good, but to me, he showed nowhere near the kind of range that Christian Bale has. Christian Bale is the best living actor as far as I'm concerned. You compare Batman to Ford v Ferrari, to American Hustle, to The Machinist. He is totally different every time, but also more so than Daniel Day-Lewis, he's had so many different movies. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis, he's done like a handful recently. Spore. No. I think I might actually own that game, Spore. I'm not sure. But no, I called it Spore, again, as a tribute to Splinter, which I won't spoil, because that's part of the story. Would I rather have an X5M than a V10 Touareg? Why? Why on earth would I want an X5M? No, absolutely not. The only SUV I would currently rather have than a V10 Touareg is the Audi Q7 V12 TDI, because it's basically the big brother of the Touareg, and it has the engine from a Le Mans winning prototype, which is badass. Murcielago or Aventador? Oh, Murcielago for sure. You said LP670 though, so that makes it a little bit more difficult because I'm not a fan of that. If you'd have said LP640, that would be easy. Have I watched War of the Worlds? Yes, I have. The original and the new one. That's the one with Tom Cruise, isn't it? Because there's two that's similar. There's The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu, and there's War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, I think. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. It's got some chilling moments in there, like when the... well, I won't spoil it. But, yeah, some chilling moments. Using a different account. No, you haven't missed much. Yeah. I also found Driver's Line that it was very important for me to know what kind of writer I am as well. Not just horror, obviously, but I am a not quite short story writer. I'm a novella writer. The stories that I tell don't need 300, 400, 500 pages. Both of my books, Buddy and Spore, you can buy them both as a paperback. They take like an hour each to read, and that's enough. Because there are two things that I hate in writing, in movies and books. One is filler, and two is stupid characters. I do not write stupid characters in any of my stuff. There are no stupid characters in Buddy or Spore. Every character who's there needs to be. Back to work. Yeah, see you in a bit, Christian. Just became Wednesday. What day is it? Oh, so you're quite a way ahead. Original Murcielago. Oh, LP640 for sure. Especially the Roadster. I'm a big fan of the Roadster. Original Gallardo. Yeah, that's cool. The original Gallardo is a nice car. It has a purity to it, which the newer ones don't have. Although the Superleggera is pretty nice. Only probably about 3 minutes left, I think, on the stream. And then I will close it out. The difference in the time of day has changed pretty substantially. Which one would you choose, Aston, Lola, or Bentley? Well, it depends what you're asking. If you mean in GT Sport, then no question. In fact, no, it doesn't matter what you're asking about. Aston, every time. I like the Bentley, but the Aston is such a perfect car. I almost wish that the diesels weren't in Le Mans so that car could have won. I love that car. Gorgeous sound, stunning to look at, great livery. I mean stupid as in both to some degree, but primarily stupid characters in terms of like mentally stupid. Because what I mean by that is I have no problem with watching a movie or reading a story or writing a book that has a character who makes a mistake. The best characters make mistakes. But the difference is smart people can still make mistakes. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's full of scientists and they make mistakes all the time. Stupid characters are more so a reflection of stupid writers, and at the very least, lazy writers, because it's the age-old thing of like the dumb blonde tripping on a flat surface while running away from the killer. That's lazy. It is straight up lazy. It's not entertaining, it's not funny, it's not scary, it's just dumb. So, instead of that, why don't you write this girl who may be still blonde, but she's smart. She hides somewhere, she runs away, but then she still gets killed. That would be far more satisfying and, crucially, far more tragic. And that's something which I love in storytelling. Some of my favourite movies are tragic. I mean, again, without spoiling any specifics, The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, is a tragic movie. My second favourite movie of all time is Old Boy, the 2003 Korean original. It's a tragic movie. I love tragic movies. I like movies where people die, where the good guy doesn't win, because not only is it more realistic, but it's just more interesting. The comments have cooled down a bit. We've got about 30 people here, but that's just about it for the stream, I think. So I'll just have a quick look at the questions. Comments, Gallardo. Yeah, I agree with that driver's line. It's just straight up lazy writing. I've got no time for lazy writing. So many great movies have been spoiled for me in that way. A perfect example is a movie called Yellow Brick Road. Great, intriguing, weird movie, dumbass ending. Trying to be all smart, just isn't. Ends up coming off as pretentious. Any tips to start a podcast? Get the right kit. Find a group of people who will return if you're planning to do it as a co-ed podcast. And at the very least, know that whatever you're talking about is going to have enough content to keep talking. Because otherwise, trust me, talking as somebody who's made 112 episodes of a podcast, you need to have content. Because if you don't, it won't last. And don't expect it to go crazy. A lot of the people who watch Beards and Cars don't even know it's a podcast half the time. Have I watched Rick and Morty? Nope. Greetings from Spain. Hi, buddy. Explanation. Yeah. Thanks. Favorite Christmas film? Probably Home Alone 2. Is GT1 faster than GT3? Yes, it is, but it also depends on what era you're talking about, because in the late 90s, the silly GT1 cars, they were more like, full-on Group C level, whereas GT1 in the 2000s, you're talking stuff like Celine S7 and Maserati MC12, and they're considerably slower, but still quicker than GT3, for the most part, anyway. Where can you buy my books? Well, hang on a second. I shall get up Amazon. That's great radio. And then Spore, Mike Hamer. Come on, stupid thing. There we go. Click on me, and I shall put that link in the chat. Yeah, there you go. So if you click that link, that takes you to my specific author's page on Amazon. You can read a couple of pages for free, and you can download them as, well, you can get the paperback, which is my personal favourite version, or you can get it as a Kindle book. Do I play any instruments? No, I don't. I beatbox a little bit and do, vocal stuff, but no, I own 2 instruments. 3 actually. Didgeridoo, electric guitar, and electric violin, but I don't play any of them. I always got bored of them pretty quick. Thoughts thoughts on Evil Dead. I haven't watched any of them, actually. I've seen bits of them, but never a full thing. Oh, actually, yes, I have. I watched, is it Army of Darkness? The one that's set in the Middle Ages? With my boomstick. That was a good one. Yeah, that's the only one I've watched in full. It was funny. I didn't find it hysterical, but it was funny. Your channel is only about GT Sport and cars, but you don't actually race. Well, I'm guessing you're pretty new, because it's not only about GT Sport. We feature GT Sport, Forza, Project Gotham, Test Drive Unlimited, Rally Games, Tourist Trophy, Ride, tons of different stuff. So no, it's not just GT Sport. I don't actually race. Well, technically no. Although, actually, no, you're technically wrong, because I have. There's a 6-part series of me racing in sport mode. My sport mode highlights. So yeah, I do race. It's just not that often. As Nick said, it's not what the channel's about. Yeah, I've seen parts of the Netflix show. Fantastic motorbike games. Tourist Trophy's fantastic, hands down the best as far as I'm concerned. The bikes in Test Drive Unlimited are good. And I would say the closest thing these days is the Ride series. It's got to be like Ride 2 and 3. So yeah, I think that's about it. Opinion on the Crew 2. Somebody did ask that earlier. I've never played it. Never played the Crew 1 or 2. I hear mixed things. I hear that it's fun but not realistic, which sounds about right. I do own at least one of them. I think I might actually own both, but I've never played them. So yeah, I think I will probably end the stream now. And probably release this video as its own thing as well. I doubt that many people would watch it, but at least for those who maybe missed the stream, they can still check it out. But I guess that's it then. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks to those who donated. It makes a big difference, especially with stuff like Copper and that coming in about all that kids stuff on YouTube. It hasn't affected me yet, but doubtless it will, like everything does. And yeah, I'll try and get the Streamlabs chat on screen implemented as soon as I can, which seems to be down to them, rather than anything I can do. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.
That's all, folks.